From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we'll go over those monthly stimulus checks and why the Democrats will likely now give you more months of checks. We'll be going then to the reconciliation process and why that reconciliation will now give you other sums of money. It's all incredible great news. Then we go to the voting process. We'll go over the July 4th versus the July 15th. We'll go over all the dates you need to know. We'll go over the bills, the voting process, the steps of the voting process, and everything you need to know and have all the updates you need to have to go into the afternoon. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. But what happened last Thursday that confused the discussion about inflation? I'll explain that as well. We'll go over the firing of Commissioner Saul last Friday, the letter from Chuck Schumer to the president about fourth stimulus, and then we'll cut to the big money that's being raised across the board as viewers are getting $20,000 from this channel, $12,000, $10,000 daily, hourly. I'll go over how you can get this big money as well. It's a big afternoon. I'm really excited for you. Let's get to all the breaking details, starting right here, starting right now on Afternoons Lalate. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful afternoon. You know, it cooled down here in Santa Monica, California. It was hot at the end of last week, but finally cooled down. It's supposed to be hotter later this week. But at the moment, the onshore breeze is feeling wonderful. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather where you are. Jump in the live chat right now. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, a lot of breaking news. Number one, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check the Democrats say they want to give you and why there may be more months of checks. Then we'll be going to the reconciliation and why those Democrats are endeavoring to give you other sums of big money. I'll go over what those sums of money are and how this is working. Then we cut to the voting and what Chuck Schumer said in that major breaking letter to the president on Friday. We'll go over the bills, the dates, the July 4th, the July 15th, everything you need to know about the vote, the dates, and the bills. Then we cut to fifth stimulus as Commissioner Saul fired by the president last Friday. I'll go over whether that impacts your fifth stimulus or not, as it's raised based upon a new inflationary benchmark additionally, and what's that inflationary benchmark is saying today as well. And then we cut to the big money that viewers continue to get. Nisi, $23,000. Art getting 3 items. John getting $12,000. It's a big afternoon. And this is Lalate, America's only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Evenings Lalate. Right on this video. Stay here and go to it automatically when this video's over at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then Evenings Overnights Crypto, Evenings Crypto, and Sirloin at 8 o'clock. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Next stop, 1,400,000 subscribers in 1 year. Hit that button. I want you part of this family. Also, like this video. Every like helps. It helps in the algorithm rankings of the video. And finally, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Hit that join button right under the video. Let's go into that monthly stimulus check from the House and the Senate by understanding what the big issues are, starting right now. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check bill. Senate proposal, July to December monthly payouts. Let's go over those payouts. $1,000 a month after the first month for the House. Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is this. Wow, now that's deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Now, here is what's breaking on Afternoons Lalate. Over a week ago, we were saying that the pandemic may be considered over and that those legislators may contend the House bill is just 1 year, 12 months, $13,000. But then everything changed. Started here in LA County, as LA County said the pandemic's not over. Then Warren Buffett saying the pandemic's not over. Airlines saying the same, and then the breaking news as Japan announces a state of emergency and cancels all spectators for the Olympic Games. The state of Missouri at 80% capacity of their ICU beds because of Delta. New concerns about Delta. With that, suddenly we understood the pandemic is not over. With that, suddenly the numbers change. No longer House bill just 1 year, but suddenly back to how it was written. And with that, the House bill suddenly has more checks. Pandemic plus 1 year would be more than just 12 checks. And that would be more than $13,000. Let's compare that to the Senate and this. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate, House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. I know my opinion changed quickly. I want to see you voting right in that live chat right now. Who would get a fourth stimulus check? The Democrats represent everyone who got a third stimulus check will get a fourth stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check, double it. Family of four, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, or veterans benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is on income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check would not come in waves because it's a monthly check. So if you do see the check trying on a beautiful new sweater at the boutique today, and it's doing this, and you're like, is that a pear dance? Or are your arms just stuck in the sweater? And you swave to the check, hey, check, how you doing? What's going on? That sweater is, Nancy style. And the check doesn't wave back at you. Maybe its arms are stuck in the sweater. Or maybe it doesn't have arms because it's a check. Anything is possible on this channel. And there you go. The Democrats represent that the fourth stimulus check, with or without arms, would come to you in the month of July, before the month of July. And, I'll just take my check without arms, thank you. I don't want to be cutting off the side of the arms when I get the check. It's, there's the perforation line. It's the perforated check where you just sort of cut out the edges. You know those type of checks. This fourth stimulus check for the month of August would land on the month of August. And while those Democrats did not get that final vote done by July 4th, I'll be explaining why that happened. It's coming up in the third part of this video. The final 15 minutes of this video, stay with me because a lot happens. I'll be going over in that final 15 minutes of this video everything you've been asking. The vote, the bills, the dates, the July 15th, the July 4th. Everything you've been wondering across the board. But in the second part of this video, we'll be going over the reconciliation, where the stimulus is located, and why those Democrats, and especially those progressives, are endeavoring to give you other big sums of money. What are those big sums of money? I'll be going over those as well. But here's a preview of also the fourth stimulus. I'll be going over that amazing letter from Chuck Schumer to the president on Friday, what that breaking news means for you, and the vote. In fifth stimulus, I'll be going over the president's firing of Commissioner Saul, head of SSA and SSI, Social Security Administration, on Friday, and what that means for your benefits or not. And then we'll be going over the risk lifting of your benefits under fifth stimulus. A lot of breaking news today. But first, let's get some money. If you're new to this channel, that's what we do. And I want you to jump in that live chat right now and post right now every single penny you got from this video, from this channel. Whether it's rent, whether it's utilities or Snap or internet, start posting right now. Here's what you're watching. This is a channel, if you're just finding it, that gets people money. This is not a check tracking channel. In April of last year, this channel was launched because people had applied for the EIDL loan and Grant had not gotten it. I stepped forward and got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans. We weren't here to track the EIDL loan. It wasn't coming. I got it for them. I got $25 million for those viewers. Saved their businesses, their homes, and also their employees' homes. And many of them, almost all of them, are still my viewers a year and a half later, a year and a plus later. Then in fall of 2020, it was looking like second stimulus. It was second stimulus, but looking like now. Where second stimulus had not yet passed, it was the holidays. You needed things to be paid. Bills were piling up. And I stepped up and I got $250,000 for viewers. Viewers like Tyrone got his rent paid for his family in Boston for $15,000. Well, we're doing it right now. And the only thing I can proudly say that's different this time is that you're doing it bigger than ever before. I am so proud of you. If you saw Evenings Lalate or Afternoons Lalate last night, you saw the numbers. Here we go. Rent, I had been saying rent was about $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. Viewers are getting $12,000 to $20,000 of rent hourly on this channel. Nisi got $20,000 for rent and additional $3,000 for rent for utilities and Snap. But viewers are constantly reporting on Evenings Lalate on the live chat. They got $12,000, $13,000 for rent. Next, for utilities, I was saying a couple $100. Viewers are defying that and getting $3,000 from my videos. It's just incredible. When I talked about Snap, I said a lot of my viewers are getting $5,000 to $6,000 for Snap. Now my viewers are getting $12,000 for Snap, like John and his family of 4. And then viewers are getting multiple items, like Art Sullivan getting 3 items across the board. Let's go over all those details. Get that pen and paper ready, because I want you to get that big money. And if it must be a Crayola crown, understand, Canute, this is not KC anything. It might be STL Cardinal Red, but it's not KC Royal anything. All right, you ready? It's not muddled. It's not muddled wine either. All right, here we go. You're going to reach out to different places for that eligibility. Each place has different eligibility. In Evenings Lalate last night, people were asking, what if I am this? Oh, please. You need to apply, because every place has different eligibility. That's number 1. Number 2, if you have applied at all the 6 places I'm going to share with you, you can still do nonprofits, which I don't cover in the videos because the running time is so long already, and the volunteers can get you that money. So please do not post that your state has no money. It's actually wrong. It's maybe you have reached out to 2 places, but there's other ones that got it. All right, you're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You're not going to say words they don't know, like muddled red. They don't know that. I don't know that. I don't want to know that. We don't use that word on this channel. You're not going to say murdered red either, because this is not Murder, She Wrote. I'm not old enough yet for that show. So there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful money for rent. Let's get to the next pile of money. It's Snap. Snap is a fortune. Families are getting a fortune on this channel. $12,000 for John for his family of 4. Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it as well. What is Snap? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Contact Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. If you got a stimulus check, why would you not get Snap? It pays for your food. By having the government pay for your food, it alleviates financial stress in the household and frees up some cash that you can use for other bills, like the car or your hair. Yeah, hair's expensive. So there we go. Let's go over the incredible money, Son of Mom money. $16,000 for a family of 4 in Hawaii. Wow. Why so much? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits off 15% between now and December. So go get it. I'm so excited for you. Keep on posting in the live chat if you got Snap. Post in the live chat if you got rent. Post in the live chat right now if you got utilities. Every time you post something, it inspires someone else who hasn't gotten it to get it. It also updates me about the numbers. And finally, it inspires someone who may have gotten 1 item, let's say Snap, but didn't get rent, now inspires them to get 3 items. The next pile of the money is wonderful, and we're killing it. We're only 13 minutes of this video. It is money coming back from your states. The states have been ordered to return money back to you due to unemployment benefits overpaid due to computer error. Where is it landing direct deposit? When? Reach out to your respective state for tracking. And when you reach out to your state to say where that check is due to computer error, ask them, hey, where's that check due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that doesn't have errors? It's sort of logical. Finally, the last part of money. It's the money coming back from IRS. If you got this as well, jump in the live chat. Margaret got it. Cod got it. Michael got it. How much, where, when, and how? Let's go over the details. Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit. When? Otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, about 75% of the time you can. You go to iris.gov, sign in and do a username, set up your username and password. Do a transcript search for your social security number. And 70% of the time it'll work. It'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal some stuff you don't want to know. It'll reveal the tax return you file, the taxes you paid. It'll reveal, does the range of option include teal? It'll reveal, does the teal princess live in a teal princess mansion? And finally, it will reveal, is your muddle blue going to be teal or is it going to just be muddle teal? And finally, reveal the check you're getting back from IRS. Can we beat that? We can. As we go in the second part of your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In the second part, we're going to go over the recon and how these other sums of money in there are so huge. Now, this is important because remember, we were just doing third stimulus money. And when third stimulus passed, there's a $1,400 stimulus check, but I said there's about $14,000 on top of that as well. That's why this part of the video is very important, because it's important to know this money is first come, first served. So let's go over all the details. First, how are we doing on this recon? We're in a better place now than we were 3 weeks ago. 2.5 weeks ago, the President, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer agreed on a split day of Wednesday to split the recon and take roads and bridges out and put it into something bipartisan. What was going on? Before that day, we had a recon. It had American stimulus in there, and it was too big. It was too big and was unpassable. What does unpassable mean? It means when they were going to call for a vote, it was not going to pass. Why not? They had pulled their Democratic leadership and said, hey, would you vote in favor of this massive recon? They said no, it's too big. So 2 Wednesdays ago, they removed the roads and bridges, and suddenly the roads and bridges shrunk the recon to a smaller item. The recon was substantially shrunk, and the roads and bridges was put elsewhere in the incredible bipartisan. Roads and bridges put in the bipartisan, and suddenly your money's staying where it is in the recon. It established a two-path process, recon and bipartisan, and this was huge because now the recon was passable. We have that confirmation from conservative media. In a wonderful op-ed, an author explains exactly what I've been reporting. Number one, the higher the top line number was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go. There's the confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the provisions of the recon and put it in the bipartisan, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry to set you up, Mitch. How's it feel? It's just, that's what happened. The GOP had nothing to gain by blessing the recon because now by blessing the bipartisan because the bipartisan made the recon passable. Well, that's part one. Number two, suddenly the progressives were able to add stuff into the recon that wasn't there before. Remember, the bipartisan the creation of the bipartisan by taking roads and bridges out of the recon shrunk the recon. But now that this recon was shrunk, the progressives were able to add a little bit in there. And those new progressive policies being added in there are confirmed by who else but the progressives. The progressives confirmed that they're meeting with the White House as part of their caucus daily to talk about the items they're adding in there. Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, says, we have a commitment that regardless of what happens with the bipartisan, the Democrats will give us, and the Congress will give us, a recon that goes as far as we want it to go. Wow, that's wonderful news, and that's confirmation. Then, what is being added in there? Well, Representative Richie Torres says he's added in housing. Housing? Yes, he says, I refuse to vote for a bipartisan that fails to be linked with a big enough recon. Well, that is fascinating. How do we get to that spot, and how can they do this? They can do this because the bipartisan creation of roads and bridges separated itself away from the recon. And now the recon is just progressive policies. And guess what? It's being enabled because the progressives are protecting the progressiveness of the recon. Jean Paul and Brian Schatz confirm that they are protecting the recon because the president has told them to protect the recon. The White House considers the progressive priorities its own priorities in the recon, as Schatz confirms. So what is being added into the recon? And is anything being taken out? Let's go over what this means. First, what is a recon? A reconciliation is a bill. It's short for the shortened version of its expression is recon. It's written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. The GOP has nothing to do with the writing. They don't want it to pass. All their involvement is voting against it, which won't work. The recon is a series of progressive policies for checks for the American people. There's nothing for anything but checks for the American people. What is in the recon? Well, later in this video, you're going to hear that the authors of the recon part that is for you have put monthly stimulus checks in there. We have heard from the president that there's money for seniors and money for children, money for medicine, and money for other issues like climate and CARES economy and also electric vehicles. Well, lots of money for people. But how is this written? Well, it's written in what's called House subcommittees. You have the House floor, but below the House, you have House subcommittees. Those House subcommittees under the Constitution are required to go over certain subjects of any particular bill. They're separated by subject matter. And the House Ways and Means Subcommittee is responsible for stimulus checks. They're responsible for unemployment. There's other subcommittees like House Budget, which is a very important subcommittee. When they write something, they have the oversight with the Senate subcommittee because they're the same party. They work hand in hand with the House as the lead authors. And when they're finished with that, then they're finished. Under the Constitution, there's no order of transparency. They don't have to show you what they're writing. They have to show you that they are writing. They have to show you what they're voting on or how they're voting. They just don't have to. Ultimately, when all the subcommittees are done, let's say there's 10 of them, for example, then those 10 subsections will be combined into one bill, ready to done, and vote. Done. So in essence, all the work of the drafting and the finality of the language is in the subcommittees. So those House subcommittees can add in what they want. They can also take out. It's important for you to push purple power because the House subcommittees can change their opinion at any time. They can have stimulus checks in there on a Monday, but by a Monday afternoon, take them out because they can change their mind. It's their prerogative. Moreover, when understanding about what else they're adding in there, they should and could and can add in other items. And what should they? They should add in the extension or the re-implementation of unemployment benefits from CARES Act 1 of 2020. FPUC, PEUA, PEUC should be put back in. It would make no sense if they didn't. Why? Last Thursday, the new jobless claims number was released. It was horrible. The jobless number details how many people lost their job that week. These are people who had a job during the pandemic of 2020, had a job in 2021, but then showed up to work last week and was sent home, laid off after working for 2 years. How big was the number? It was astronomical, 373,000, higher than Wall Street's high-end estimate of 350,000. Meantime, there's concerns of economic slowdown in China and also here. There's concerns that bond yields, like the Treasury yields, really fell plummeting 1.25% on Thursday. So there's big concerns that we need more stimulus in the recon. And so they can certainly add unemployment. They can add PUC, PEUA, FPUC. They can add student loan debt forgiveness, mortgage forbearance, student eviction moratorium, and other items. So certainly push purple power. Push because they should put those items in there. This is the opportunity, and you need to grab on the opportunity. Remember, also push to ensure they keep their promise for you for multiple monthly stimulus checks. But can we top that? We can. As Jalapal pushed Schumer several weeks ago to call the vote. Jalapal wrote Schumer a letter, and it said, call the vote on the recon. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are among the 100-plus who had written the president a letter a week earlier saying, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. Now, that's great news because it's over 100 of them. It's not just a few people. Can we top that? We can. Remember that subcommittee I just went over? The House subcommittee called House Ways and Means that is responsible solely for writing stimulus checks under the U.S. Congress? Well, they wrote the president, 7 members of them wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus package. Wow. And they actually said monthly. Now, who are these people? They wrote your third stimulus recon check in the spring of this year. They represent they're doing a fifth stimulus recon check for next year. And they wrote the first and second stimulus check as well. Wow, now that's wonderful news. Can we top that? We can. As the president has now got it official, that global minimum corporate tax rate is now officially law internationally. A ceremonial signing occurred 3 weeks ago, but the official signing just happened. And now it makes fourth stimulus recon easier to go to the finish line. Why? Number one, it makes it easier to write it. You don't have to put those provisions about international corporate taxes into a recon. It makes it easier to write it. Number two, it makes it easier to call for a vote. You don't have to worry that people won't understand international corporate taxes that are legislators when they look at it. Number 3, it makes it easier to pass. Anything that you just take out and suddenly it's a smaller recon, an easier recon, it makes it easier to pass. And there you go. It's anchoring for stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line. But can we top that? We can. As in the third part of this video, we go over the final 15 minutes, the most important 15 minutes of this video. I want you to stay to the very end. During that 15 minutes, we go over Chuck Schumer's letter to the president. We go over what Chuck Schumer's saying about the vote. We'll go over what happened with July 4th, July 15th, July 14th, the vote, the bills, everything you need to know across the board. Then we go to the firing of Commissioner Saul at Social Security Administration on Friday. What happened? Does that impact the raising up your benefits under fifth stimulus or not? I'll explain it in that part of the video. And first, something even more wonderful, the volunteers. If you're watching this live chat and you see people in the live chat post the rent, utility, SNAP that they have gotten, you've tried to get it, you can't find it, you're having problems finding it, don't worry, I have your back. They have your back. Reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page of this, the LLA community page. How do you find it? Open the description of this video. Go down in the description and you'll see an emoji of a house. It'll send you a link to the community page at news.la.com/community. On that community page is a picture of some kitty cats. Lower down are the volunteers. Reach out to them, and they'll help you get that rent, utility, internet, and SNAP. And they have been doing wonderful jobs getting viewers $12,000, $13,000 for rent and massive amounts of SNAP. Here's a little bit about them. I'll be back in 60 seconds with you with the big, exciting final 15 minutes of bombshell details in this afternoon's LA broadcast. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA. And the excitement continues right now on this massive afternoon's LA broadcast with lots of breaking news. In the second half of this video, we'll have that big final 15 minutes of when we go over everything you've been asking about in forced stimulus. The vote, the bills, the dates, the July 14th, the July 15th, Chuck Schumer's letter. Then under fifth stimulus, we'll go over the firing of Commissioner Saul. What does that mean, if anything, for your benefits? And then we'll go over all the surprises and what you should anticipate for this new week. And with that, subscribe. This is LA, and I want you part of this family. Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next up, 1 million. Coming up right after this video is Evenings LA. Stay on this video, and it'll automatically take you there. Then Overnight's Crypto, Evenings Crypto, and Sirloin. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. Every like helps in the algorithm rankings. It also delivers a side of garlic toast. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. Let's get right into fifth stimulus starting right now. Fifth stimulus is that raising up of your benefits that was promised to you during the campaign trail and during the presidential transition time by the president. But this SSI and SSDI reform is not coming from the president. It's coming from congressional leaders telling the president they're putting it into fifth stimulus because he promised it when running for president, and they actually cite his promises. It will involve raising up your benefit limits, then removing the asset limits, adding an inflationary benchmark, removing the income exclusion, and removing the marriage penalty. Is this impacted by the firing of Commissioner Saul on Friday? No. Commissioner Saul, head of Social Security Administration, was fired on Friday. But this has nothing to do with it. Why? Because the raising up of your benefits is done by act of Congress. The commissioner of the Social Security Administration cannot do that. Moreover, the president is not behind the bill, is not the author of this bill. The president cannot author a bill because he's in the presidency, he's not in Congress. But this bill is actually authored by congressional leaders based upon what the president had promised the American people. But Commissioner Saul has vowed to fight his firing. So we'll see how that forms in the next week or so. Meantime, the president has indicated he's dedicated before the firing of Commissioner Saul $1 billion of Social Security Administration to ensure your benefits checks go out on time. This is third, fourth, and fifth stimulus and your monthly benefits. The subcommittee members, on the other hand, of that House Ways and Means Committee represent they're going to be giving you a fifth stimulus check. That would be next year. It would not overlap with your fourth stimulus check. And finally, if you're missing a first, second, or third stimulus check, you must, categorically must, file a tax return and request it on the tax return. There's a line on the tax return to do that. If you haven't done both, reach out to a tax preparer to get those checks. So let's go over what is happening then with this benchmark, and let's go over this calculation of raising your benefits. First, your benefits will be raised up a lifetime. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, Survivor benefits, SSA, or multiple benefits. Then they'll apply the new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. They'll apply it at the end of this year for next year's benefits, and inflation will be going up. But last Thursday, Wall Street saw inflation fears go the other direction, down. Why did that happen? It's because Treasury yields fell dramatically to 1.25% in just a few hours. And this was a concern as China said their economy slowed in the month of June. There were concerns that our economy may be slowing. And there was concern not only about Delta, but just slowing growth across this economy. Well, my position is I'm staying with Jay Powell. Your head of the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, says that inflation is going to continue to grow all year long and reach its highest point in December, which is where they approximately apply your benefits. It's just the issue of how big will the inflation rate be. There was a new report out today that says the housing price is now growing so astronomically, up 15% in many Midwest states, that they think that in the inflation lift from just the housing component is 2%. Oh, boy. Well, you know, many Wall Street analysts were looking at 10% inflation by December. Let's use that number. It's really hard to say where it is because we're several months out, but that would raise your benefits up a lifetime, raise your benefits up an additional 10%, not just next year, but lifetime, because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Next, they're going to remove the income cap that prevents you from working and staying on benefits. If you want to work now, you could work. It's a 1960s law that would go away. They're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Now you'll be able to have more than $3,000 on hand and some cardinal red Crayola crowns in your hand as well. And then they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and no longer fear loss of benefits or be suffering from loss of benefits. It would not be retroactive. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. But boy, there's a lot of other money in fifth stimulus, third stimulus, and fourth stimulus. And if you're on the live chat, you're wondering, how are those people with that purple hawk next to their name getting that purple hawk? They're becoming members. Under the video, there's a link that says join here. There's also the link in the description at the top of the chat. By becoming a member, you're delivered daily from me to you via the YouTube community page. A breakdown of all the tens of thousands of dollars you can get from third stimulus right now. Most every viewer at this channel qualifies for one or multiple items, as you see in the live chat, because it was dedicated there in the third stimulus. When third stimulus passed, we all said $1,400 stimulus check, but I said, hey, I'm going to try to get you $14,000 because there's a lot of other money in there. So consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment right now and learn the details. All right, here we go. The final 15, away we go in the final 15 as we go over all the details that you need to know about what's going on for Chuck, the vote, the bills, the dates, and the moolah. All right, first, July 4th. Why did they not get the final vote done by July 4th? Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi said over 1,000 times, their representation, not mine, that the final vote would be by July 4th on the recon. First, That's final vote, not the first vote. Second, on the recon. Well, why did they say that, and why could they not meet that promise? Because they therein learned that at the time they were making that comment, the recon was the big recon. And at that time, they did not know that there was Democrats in their party that were not going to vote for the big recon. So they had to shrink the recon. So they could not make the vote by July 4th because there was enough Democrats said, the recon's too big, take out roads and bridges. But, to which I would say, but the split day in which they took the roads and bridges out of the recon was 2 Wednesdays ago, and that was before July 4th. So why not call the recon for a vote once it was shrunk? Second, because there was a series of other Democrats who said, no, you have to have the bipartisan call for a vote as well. To which I would say, okay, call the recon for a vote now, before July 4th, and get to the bipartisan, let's say, October. It's no rush. It's a crumbling bridge. The bridge has been crumbling for 50 years. You can wait another 3 weeks. Well, no, there was a series of other Democrats who said you cannot put the bipartisan too late in time. They have to be closer in time. How close in time? The agreement among Democrats and conservatives is you have to call the recon for a vote first or concurrently with the bipartisan, otherwise the recon won't pass. That's why Mitch wants the bipartisan called first, because he wants to kill the recon. Well, to which I would say, fine, okay, well, is the recon done? Most legislators indicate it's close to being done, close to finality. Good. So is the bipartisan close to being written and done? No. What? Yes, no. Here is what happened. Unbeknownst to any of us, this is what had happened. Shelley Moore Capito, the Republican GOP negotiator with the president in the month of June, met with him daily about how to do the bipartisan. When she met with him, she had no bill. She had no piece of paper. She had no pen or paper. And ultimately, those negotiations fell apart. So the president started negotiating with a bipartisan group. And when they met with the president, they did not have a bill, and they did not have a written proposal. Ultimately, they agreed on something, the split, 2 Wednesdays ago. Okay, to which I would say, wait a second, that's 2.5 weeks ago. Why haven't you gotten the bipartisan written in 2.5 weeks when you were negotiating for weeks before, and then Shelley Moore Capito the month before that? There's no answer for it. It's inexcusable. It is absolutely inexcusable, which we all now know. It is a repeat of 2020 hashtag write the bill. Write the bill. It is inexcusable that these people had been negotiating without pen and paper, and that once they did, they didn't get it written in 2.5 weeks. Remember, legislators are elected to do this. This is their job, to write bills. They're not elected to flip pancakes. This is their salary. Our taxes are levied to pay them to do this work. And if they that slow to write a bipartisan bill and get it to finale, not acceptable. So you have to push purple power. Number 2. July 4th, July 15th, July 14th. Well, we just went over July 4th. But July 15th, July 14th has nothing to do with you. This video is about 4th stimulus and 5th stimulus. 3rd stimulus from January 2020 is about July 15th. It's the children's checks for July 15th from 3rd stimulus. This video is about 4th stimulus. Next, the voting process. Very important to understand. I'm bringing voting process back into the coverage of this channel. When we do votes on bills, it requires a House and a Senate to separately vote on the legislation, and then the president sign into law. But it also generally requires subcommittees to vote first. House subcommittee, Senate subcommittee, before the floors vote on it. In this case, Chuck Schumer for recons saves a little bit of time by having the Senate subcommittee write with the House subcommittee so that there does not need to go back to subcommittees on both sides of branches of the government. So, how many steps, how many bills, how long? Let's go over the details. We have 3 bills we have to do here. Recon procedural, recon substantive, and bipartisan. Each bill requires 4 steps, as I've been reporting for over 3 months on this channel. The subcommittee, 1 subcommittee, not 2, because Chuck's saving us some time on that, then 2 floors, and then the president. So here you go. Subcommittee, Senate, Senate floor, House, president. 4 steps. Times 3, 3 bills, 12 steps. Does not take 12 days. They can do it shorter. It's important to know that, again, this legislation will start on the Senate side, not the House. That was the universal agreement. Next, can they modify the language of the recon? How quickly can they modify the language? And should they modify the language? Yes. So what I want you to understand that for purposes of understanding, write the bill. In terms of writing a bill about roads and bridges, there was no prior bill about roads and bridges. There was a prior bill that created FPUC. It was called CARES Act 1 2020. There was one that for PUC and PUA, all that was CARES Act 2020. When you go to say, hey, I want to do some more weeks of a prior bill, it's literally one sentence. You're not rewriting the act, the congressional act. You're just saying, oh, as to that act we passed in 2020, we want to reinstitute it again for 14 more weeks. Or if it hasn't expired, we want to extend it for 14 more weeks until this date. Done. Sentence done. Over. So it's very, very easy for them to extend existing legislation. So, Purple Power, if you're watching this video and you think they should include other things in there, push unemployment, PUC, FPUC, PUA. It doesn't take a lot of time to put them in there. Number 2, don't hold that donut and say, where is my check? When is it in my bank account? When is it landing? What date am I getting it? It sort of defies understanding or listening to the video. We have an emoji for this. It's called Not Law Yet. And you can't take anything for granted with legislators. They can change their mind at any time. They can wake up in the morning and it could be in there, and by the evening they could take it out. So you need to push. Next, if there's some subject matter I didn't cover in this video that you think should be included, push as well on that, such as student loan debt forgiveness, mortgage forbearance, eviction moratorium. A lot of things were previously codified for these, so it's very easy to extend them again. Next, Chuck Schumer. What did Chuck Schumer say on Friday? And is it exciting news? Is it nothing news? Or is it sort of moderate news? I think it's good news. I don't think it's really exciting news. What did Chuck Schumer say on Friday? He said that legislators should be prepared to work longer hours and not leave town in the next few weeks. Good. Here's what you need to know. Over the last month and a half, I said that I've made a gazillion videos in 2020 where the law says Schumer, Pelosi, and the president can order members of Congress in session to vote on something. Now, the actual way the law is written says they can order them back in town to vote on something. If they're coming back on town to vote on something, then they're also doing work on the vote, which is sort of obvious. But the way it's actually written is very literal. They can be ordered back in to vote on something. And Schumer and Pelosi would obviously do that. And Pelosi talked about this ad nauseum in 2020, but she didn't have Mitch's agreement on stuff, so she couldn't follow through. This time it's easy. But what Chuck said on Friday was a little bit further than that, so that's why I like it. He said, be prepared to stay in town and work more. Now, the antithesis of that thing would be, well, if he didn't say that, he would be tar and feather. I mean, yeah, what is the reverse of it? Go and have a beautiful vacation, and I'll see you back in, in December. And ignore the homeless person on the street corner while you're having your Mai Tai at the beach this weekend. What's the reverse of this? So he obviously had to say something. The reason why I'm not excited about the statement is it's vague. And I like more details, especially when it comes from a congressional leader. And there you go. Hashtag write the bill, folks. Got to get the bipartisan written. Second, can't accept anything as a finale, always have to push. And push because things are changing by the minute. Use data for your benefit. The economic data from last week was horrible. The jobs numbers, horrible. Janet Yellen does stimulus based upon jobs. The president does stimulus based upon jobs. Horrible numbers. Use it for your benefit. This week, there's something else that's going to be going on that will really determine where we're heading. And that other thing that's going on is new corporate earnings being released. Corporate earnings are a gauge of where the economy is going. And when we look at those corporate earnings, we'll get a sense of whether they're as expected or they're really good, which would be bad for us because people may say, you don't need stimulus. The economy is fully rebounded. Or they may be bad, and then they would help us a lot. Trust me, Congress is looking at corporate earnings. The White House is, and this is the first week of several weeks of corporate earnings starting this week. PepsiCo, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs report earnings on Tuesday. As to Pepsi, Jim Cramer says they may have great numbers, but their raw costs may be a big issue. Interesting. We'll watch that. Middle of the week Wednesday is the banks like Bank of America, Citigroup, and Delta. Kramer says of Delta, I want to know if the Delta COVID variant has impacted Delta flying and if business travelers are finally coming back. I don't think they're coming back. If they're not coming back, the number will be bad. More single for stimulus. Great news there for us. Not good news for the particular airline. And then at the end of the week are some of the health companies as well. So there you go. There is a lot to watch this week. And ultimately use bad downturns of economic news, which don't come that often, for your advantage. You need to push. Call up your Democratic senators. Call up the progressive leaders. Tweet them. Say why you need stimulus. Don't ask where it is, but say why you need it. I need it because. And express your position professionally. Think about it before you call up. This is the true spirit of the Purple Power. Meantime, please get the money covered in this video. The rent, the utilities, the internet, the SNAP, because money is money. If you can get $5, $10, $15, $20,000 from this channel in this week, then that would sort of alleviate all the concerns about bills, because money is money. If you got money to pay the bills, it's money. And I'll see you next on Evenings LA, which comes up right after this video. Stay on this video, it automatically take you there. So subscribe, 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Every like helps. It also delivers a side of a surfboard. Well, I don't know about that. And consider becoming a member. So you get all the breakdown of the big money under third, fourth, and fifth signals you can get across the board. Stay informed, stay focused. I'll see you next on Evenings LA.